The year is 2014 and Manchester City have just won the Premier League, but in Football Manager, I've turned back time and instead Manchester United are the champions. So as we navigate an alternative timeline, what else will change? We'll see unlikely teams get promoted, strange Ballon d'Or winners, and players sign for different teams. One of them is Raja Nainggolan, known as one of the toughest midfielders in Serie A. In this universe, he joins to become an enforcer at Tottenham Hotspur. Having a bully in midfield allows Spurs attackers to flourish. Emmanuel Adebayor collects the Premier League Golden Boot with 22 goals, just beating Arsenal's Lucas Podolski to the award. Reigning champions Manchester United have Wayne Rooney and Robin van Persie, but both would be outscored by a young Danny Welbeck, whose 16 Premier League goals pushed David Moyes' side towards the Premier League title. Welbeck scored against Spurs at Old Trafford, but thanks to a Roberto Soldado and Aaron Lennon goal, it's Tottenham who would walk away with all 3 points and eventually beat United to the Premier League title. Luckily, United have a 17-year-old Marcus Rashford emerging from the youth academy, so maybe he can help them win in future seasons to come. Spurs strengthened for the 2015-16 season, with the signing of Arda Turan from Atletico Madrid for 60 million. The streets will never forget Arda Turan, just like how the streets won't forget the insane discount I've got you for FM26. You can pre-order FM26 through my affiliate link in the description with Fanatical. Use code TomFM at checkout to bring the price down to £38.94. Once you've paid, head to Order History and Keys to reveal your game key. Copy that and open up Steam, click Games in the top of the screen, activate the products, and voila, FM26 is now in your Steam library. Turan only helped Adebayor become a more lethal striker, as he won another Golden Boot, scoring 28 Premier League goals. But this season, Arsenal were trying to take the crown from their North London rivals. Theo Walcott had one of his greatest seasons, scoring 21 goals and collecting 14 assists. That were mostly for Olivier Giroud, who got 20 goals himself. In a pivotal game between the two sides, Adebayor was given a straight red card for a horrendous challenge, allowing Theo Walcott to win the game for the Gunners, giving them the advantage. However, Arsenal then crumbled under the pressure. They lost 3-2 to QPR with Adel Taarabt scoring a hat-trick, conceding in the 96th minute against Manchester United, and then they drew 1-1 with Newcastle United. All the while, Spurs were winning without Adebayor, earning them back-to-back titles. Leicester can't pull off the same miracle that they did in real life. Everything would change in the 2016-17 season. Aston Villa signed Victor Ibarbo for 37 million from Cagliari, and the Colombian striker found the back of the net 15 times, putting Villa in title contention. Sergio Aguero would continue his fine goal-scoring form alongside Stevan Jovetic to keep Man City in the hunt as well. Marcus Rashford announced himself to the Manchester United fans by scoring a hugely important brace against Arsenal. Arsenal themselves are being led by Kevin Volland, who is getting a lot of help from a healthy Jack Wilshere. Liverpool have Luis Suarez, and he go on to be the league's top scorer with 21. But would it be enough for the title? Because all of these sides keep slipping up. Liverpool fall to an Anthony knockout winner at West Brom. Man City drop points against Norwich City, and Villa can't score past Swansea, who beat them 1-0. Sunderland will get the better of both Manchester United and Arsenal, with 4 goals from Dong Won-ji across the 2 games, denting their title hopes. Everyone was trying to throw away the title, but Arsenal did it the best. After Giroud gave them the lead against Liverpool, a 95th minute howler from Szczesny saw Liverpool rescue a point, which ended up being the point that won them the title ahead of Arsenal in one of the closest seasons ever seen. Spurs finished a lowly 8th last season after winning 2 titles. Now they want to get back to the top. Summer signings Felipe Caicedo and Luke Shaw have both flopped, with neither having a huge impact on the side. But a 21-year-old Gabriel Jesus, signed from Palmeiras, was the answer, as he scored 24 goals for Spurs this season. Manchester United are also back in the title fight with their own wonderkid. They've signed Ousmane Dembele from Rennes to play on the opposite wing to Rashford. They're both supporting Danny Welbeck, who has taken the reins from Wayne Rooney and is clearly the best goal scorer in this United team. At the halfway mark of the season, the two sides are locked in a tight battle at the top of the table. When they played against each other, United came away as 3-1 winners, with goals from Fellaini, Rooney and Chicharito, putting the Red Devils in the driving seat. But Spurs were able to defeat the other top teams in the league, like Liverpool and Man City. United, on the other hand, kept losing. The nail in the coffin was a loss to Sunderland, where Dong-Won-Ji scored. Apparently, he only scores against big clubs in big games, and apparently he only has subscribed to a TomFM channel on YouTube, so I reckon you should do the same as well. Dong-Won's goal meant that Spurs got back ahead of United by a point to claim their third title since we reset history. By the 2018-19 season, there are a lot of big names that just haven't had the same careers. Spurs are dominating without Harry Kane, who's been sold to Championship Leicester. Mo Salah moved from Basel to Benfica and hasn't got close to his potential. And Jamie Vardy was quickly released by Leicester back to non-league and assigned for Dagenham and Redbridge. But one player has done better than real life, and that's Romelu Lukaku. After a quiet few seasons behind Lewandowski, he's finally fulfilled his promise, dominating the Premier League and winning the Ballon d'Or ahead of Danny Welbeck and his teammate Eden Hazard. But Welbeck's goals would be more important. Chelsea's defence isn't quite there, as proven by Welbeck and his mates scoring 4 past Chelsea. But United are always the bridesmaid, never the bride, as Welbeck still can't guide United back to the title. That's because Jack Wilshere is having the season of his life. The now England captain is comfortably Arsenal's top scorer and has been inspiring the team to victory, including an all-important 3-2 win against Manchester United, where Sergio Buenacasa and Rodrigo Gomez got the goals. As a result, Arsenal are the side that beat Manchester United to the title this season. Wilshere would also inspire the Gunners to do something no other English side has done so far: make the Champions League final. But despite scoring, he can't stop Real Madrid, led by Ronaldo, Bale and Benzema, to win their third Champions League in the last 4 seasons. The following season, it was a whitewash. No one could get close to Arsenal as they romped to a second title in a row, with Jack Wilshere becoming even more productive. The scary thing is, this Arsenal team is young. Fede Valverde has been bossing the midfield, Bukayo Saka is starting to emerge on the right wing, and Sven Botman is beginning to lock down a starting centre-back spot. So whilst this young team has lifted another title ahead of United, there are others who are struggling. Despite signing Haaland straight from Bern in Norway, City have not been able to challenge for a title. Liverpool have fared even worse. Their talisman Ademola Lookman isn't looking good enough to me. And Everton have made the wrong transfer every single season, with only Robert Sanchez and Anthony Gordon being up to scratch. It could be worse though, as you could be Brentford, with your most recognisable player being Jonathan Hogg. He's just helped them get relegated to League One. That's right, there is an entire football pyramid below the Premier League that we're not focusing on too much in this video, but some of them have done a lot better than they've done in real life. And one of them is Fleetwood Town. Fleetwood have had a rapid rise from League 2. Led by Kelechi Iheanacho, Fleetwood beat Middlesbrough in the playoff final to earn promotion to the Premier League. However, they earned a draw early in the season away at Arsenal, before fighting hard to draw 2-2 with Ipswich. Their first win came against Everton, despite being down to 10 men for 45 minutes. Draws with Newcastle, QPR and Fulham followed, and that was it. Fleetwood pick up 8 points across the season, and they beat Derby County's record of the fewest points in a single Premier League campaign. At the top end of the table, Jack Wilshere is still the best player in the league, and now officially the best player in the world, as he beat Lionel Messi to a 2020 Ballon d'Or. But he can't get Arsenal their three-peat. Over summer, Aubameyang moves from Dortmund to Manchester United, and he supplants Danny Welbeck as their top scorer. Backed up by Ousmane Dembele and, strangely enough, Nick Powell, who is now a full England international, the trio score the goals that finally win United the Premier League title after years of being runners-up. Having not been in the title race for a few years, Spurs had a much more competitive season thanks to summer signings Rafinha, who contributed 25 Premier League goals. Nathan Redmond added a further 23 goal contributions that sent Spurs back to the top of the pile. But Liverpool have Ahmed Musa. Signed back in 2014, the former CSKA Moscow attacker just had his best goal-scoring season. They also have their own young Brazilian in Rodrigo. He grabbed 20 goal contributions to push Liverpool towards the title as well. Rodrigo scored past Spurs in a 2-1 win at London. Then at Anfield, Diogo Dalot and Daniel Sturridge scored the goals to win 2-0 for Liverpool as they finished ahead of Tottenham. But neither side would win the title. After an injury-hit season for Jack Wilshere, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain stepped up and contributed 34 goals across the season to send Arsenal back on top of the pile. 6 titles have now been won by the two teams from North London. In the 22-23 season, it would be a different London club that steals the crown. Despite having a team of superstars, Chelsea have been underperforming. Lukaku and Lewandowski lead the line, Eden Hazard starts on the left, whilst Oscar occupies the right wing. Frenkie de Jong and Thiago boss the midfield, and this team is world class. But they've not been able to get close to a title until now. This season, they finally batter Arsenal, Tottenham, Liverpool, Man United, Sunderland and Newcastle to only just win the title ahead of Arsenal. Chelsea really struggled against teams in the bottom half of the table. Erling Haaland is now finally becoming the player he was destined to be. He has a breakout season, scoring 23 Premier League goals to take the Golden Boot for the first time. The issue is, the rest of City's team isn't quite there yet. Diego Reyes isn't Kevin De Bruyne, Victor Wanyama isn't Rodri, and Mbappe is so average, he's been transfer listed for just £6 million. They also have Vinny Jr., but he's not developed to the same level either. Chelsea had a dramatic drop-off and struggled to beat anyone. They drop to 9th in the table and miss out on all European football. This opens the door for Spurs and Arsenal to duke it out for the title. But a 0-0 and 1-1 draw is all they could do against each other this season. But Spurs are now fronted by Alexander Isak and Gabriel Jesus. Playing a 4-4-2, these two strikers were a lethal combination. On paper, Spurs are a weaker side than Arsenal, but Arsenal don't have the firepower. Despite having a better defensive record than Spurs, it's Tottenham's goals that see them win more games to claim yet another title. In reality, Liverpool won the title in 2024-25, but in this universe, they aren't quite there. Like in real life, until the signing of Isak, they haven't had an elite centre forward. Their best players are homegrown talents Harvey Elliott and Curtis Jones, and they're both regular internationals for England. Up front, they have Rodrigo still, but he just isn't getting them the goals that they need. In fact, it's Bernard, who briefly played for Everton in real life, who's their top goal scorer. They just don't have an attack strong enough to lift the title. We know Spurs have a lethal attack, but their defence was never quite as convincing, and that stopped them from winning the title this season as they suffered silly losses to teams like Stoke and Swansea. So that leaves the attacking duo of Romelu Lukaku and now Rasmus Højlund at Chelsea. After a terrible season last time out, the signings of Højlund from Montpellier and Vinny Jr. from Man City have rejuvenated the side, only losing 3 games all season. They win the league title with 93 points, one shy of the points record set by Spurs in 2015. Spurs will go on to do something even more remarkable though. The Champions League has been dominated by Real Madrid, but after topping their group, Tottenham beat Porto 7-2 on aggregate, snuck past Shakhtar 2-0, and then comfortably beat Bayern Munich 4-1 to make the Champions League final. But Erling Haaland, who moved to Real Madrid over summer, gave them the lead 9 minutes into the game. 2 minutes later though, Gabriel equalised from a corner. And then, late on, Andrea Carnevale scored the goal that Spurs needed to win the Champions League. So just like real life, Spurs do win a European trophy in 2025, although I think this one is a little bit more special. They can put that in their trophy cabinet along with the 4 Premier League titles that they won in this video. Maybe it's a good thing this didn't happen in real life, because imagine how insufferable they'd all be if this did happen. Right, now you should go and watch this video, where I attempt a one-player rebuild. I have one player in the team that I have to sell for as much money as possible and use the profit to buy an entire squad to win me the Champions League. All I'll say is no one wanted to buy Erling Haaland for big money, so we had to sell him for a massive discount, making my life a lot harder. Click the thumbnail on screen right now to find out exactly what happened.